welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to see that you came back. Since I have last spoke to you, I've had 2 visits. The first one was a couple of nights ago. For those of you that are new or not even subscribed, that I have extraterrestrials and other entities that come and visit me. They come and see me at all hours of the day. That's a really hard sentence. But mostly they come at night. So a couple nights ago, I think I was asleep, maybe barely asleep, and it felt like a light weighted blanket was coming up my right mid-thigh. I was laying on my left side, so it was coming up mid-thigh up toward my hip, and it was just like laying there. I should say, I don't know, I guess it was laying there. I'm not sure what it was, but it felt like a little square, tiny weighted blanket. And it was a very, very light vibration. And I remember thinking, I wonder, mouse is talking, I wonder if they're working on my hip. I don't think they were, because it was more on my thigh area than my actual hip area. But I'm not 100% sure. And it's been a couple of days. I can't even tell you exactly where it was. And then I remember I just kind of laid there and enjoyed it because I've missed it. It's been a while since I've actually felt them working on my body. But then I fell asleep. And that was my fault because I closed my eyes, relaxing and feeling it. Last night was a little different. Here lately, as I've said in the past, I smell I smell a lot of them. I've smelled bad ones that smelled bad, and then I've smelled good ones. Some smell like frankincense, and the ones that I smelled last night, I cannot pinpoint the smell. It's not a bad smell, but it maybe comes across to me as maybe essential oil. I might be wrong, but it's the only thing I can come up with. Why do they smell like that? And so I'm doing I think it was my color by numbers, I can't remember. And I'm laying there and I started smelling them. And I just kind of said, I put my phone to the side and I said, I smell you. I know you're there. Why don't you just communicate with me? And I looked around. And I'm like, okay, I didn't think so. And then I continued on my phone. And then I started realizing there was a pressure in the room. And then I'm laying there thinking, I'm not scared, but I feel like it's overpowering. And I'm not talking about, kind of thing. It's like maybe like a heaviness. And it's not per se coming from them. I think it was coming from what they were doing. And then I started becoming aware, oh, I'm feeling nauseous. And then I'm thinking, oh, my heart. Because every time in the past where I felt nauseous like that, they were stopping my heart. Or my heart was stopping and they were starting it. I don't know which. And so I remember laying there before it got that bad, and I'm thinking, why do I feel, again, I wasn't scared. I don't know how to describe the way I felt, but I remember thinking something along the lines of, why do I feel uncomfortable with this sensation? And it's not like, ew, I'm so uncomfortable kind of thing. It was like a feeling that I've never felt, in which I have, but never felt and been aware of in my human form. That kind of sounds silly, but I don't know how to explain it. In my earth form, I don't go around feeling this all day, every day. Because when you do, you become accustomed to it. And you're like, you take it like a grain of salt. You're just like, oh, you know what I mean? And so when this feeling comes across to my human self, I'm like, why do I feel uneasy in a way? Again, not afraid, because I'm not. it's just like, why can't I adjust to this feeling kind of thing? I'm like, what is going on? When I started getting kind of nauseous, kind of clammy, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And so I put my phone down, and immediately, I know they were putting me to sleep, but immediately I was just like, oh my God. I mean, it was just that quick. I put my phone down and bam, I could barely keep my eyes open. And I struggled and I struggled and I struggled. And then next thing I knew, I was out. But then I woke up to what they felt like they were working on my root chakra. And it was a very faint vibration. And then it felt like a poking, a painless poking, but it felt sharp, but painless. Don't know what that was about. They worked on my root chakra. I'm assuming it's my root chakra, but I felt them in that area before and working on it. I don't know what was going on. I've actually smelled these beings at work. I've smelled them in other places. Right now, I can't think of it on top of my mind, on top of my head, on top of my mind. You know where I'm going with that. I can't remember where else I've smelled them. But I know it was more than one. It's just an intuition feeling that I have. That it was just more than one being in the room. Every time I feel these beings, now I can't sit here and say, okay, there was 5 here one day, and then it was a whole different set of beings another day, maybe 3, and they all smelt the same. I can't say that, but I do know it's more than one, unless that one is that powerful, and I don't doubt that at all. And I say powerful because of the things that they do. So I'll kind of give you one. Well, I hate repeating a lot of my stories, and I know not all of you have watched all my videos to know, but I'm going to say this. When I say powerful, this is what I mean. Before I had Achilles tendon surgery, it was after work. I was in a boot because it was painful, and I was on my feet all day, and I'm walking out to my car. So I'm walking out through the parking lot, and before I got to my car, I just had this sharp, pulling, burning pain in my Achilles tendon. And so I had to stop, and I had to kind of breathe through it. And then once I was able to kind of get past that, it was like a cramp, but it wasn't a cramp, but it eased. So I finally, got in my car and stuff, and I get home. I wasn't home long, maybe an hour, and I was in bed. And I woke up that night to what felt like a painless laser beam, is the only way I can describe it, going next to my ankle bone, kind of by my tendon. And I look, and I've said this before in my video, of course, it looked like the predator alien and the alien side by side, and the alien was doing the work. And the predator looking one had the weapons, just like the Predator movie Alien did. And he was sitting there watching TV. And I used to think that was my soul father, Oren, but I don't think that was. The more I think about it, I can still see the image in my mind. And from what I remember seeing, that Arcturus doesn't look like that. Not that I know of, but I don't think so. So they were doing that. And I'm sitting there in my mind thinking, oh my God. And it was one of the first sets that I had seen when my TV lit up, they did. And it was more the alien than the predator alien. And he had a beautiful color on his head. It was like this. It was upside down crescent. And it was purple and blue. So they sat there and worked on my foot for I don't know how long before I woke up, and maybe another 3 or 4 minutes after I woke up. They heard my thoughts, because in my head I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and I was so excited. And the predator alien, you could see him turn and look at me, and it looked like he had goggles on because they reflected off my TV. And then he kind of looked at me, and then he turned back watching TV, and I'm sitting there thinking, what? And then when they finished, you can see his, whatever it was, weapons or whatever, turn and shift, and they went up through the ceiling. That's one. And then the other powerful I'm going to talk about, this was such a miracle. If you want to call it that, Earth people would call that kind of like a miracle. So it was after surgery. I love talking about this one, but I'm just going to give you an example of what they did. And I know I've done a video on it, but just in case you haven't heard, it was after surgery. I was in bed. I woke up to what felt like fingers going around my foot. And I want to say it was a day or 2 after my surgery. I cannot remember. And then I felt them like doing this, what felt like maybe a thumb and a finger, or 2 fingers and a thumb. And they were underneath my foot, feeling what felt like every single bone in my foot, not my tendon, in my foot. And then they would rub gentle, very gentle, and they would go around, and then I felt their finger pluck the tendons, or I guess it was the tendons, per toe. Because I could feel my toes doing this, and then their fingers down there pulling on them. Painless. And then they go on the top of my foot and feel the top, and all over. And if they fell to my heel where my tendon, my Achilles tendon was, I can't remember at this point. So the miracle of that was I had kind of like a boot on. I had to wear 24/7 for a couple of months. And on the back of my leg, it was just below my knee. And it was a partial, kind of like a cast, a half of a cast. It was hard on the bottom, and it went underneath my heel and probably to the balls of my foot on the bottom. So my foot had to stay like this all the time. And the top was wrapped with, I can't remember if it was ace bandage or if it was just like a really thick gauze bandage all the way around from the bottom of my toes, where the toes start, all the way up to below my knee. They were working through that hard piece, and it was crazy. How they could do that, I don't know. But they were checking my foot out, I guess making sure everything was okay. And it was. But it's such a miracle what they can do. It's amazing. Why they keep working on me as often as they do, I don't know. I really just don't know. I think next time I smell them, before I go to sleep, I'm going to sit up in the bed and demand them, show yourselves, talk to me. I feel like I deserve to know. I know they're listening to me right now. I mean, come on. Talk to me. It's been three years, almost this March will be 4 years since my awakening. And I've been getting these visits, and it's like, come on. It's been almost 4 years. Talk to me. I want to know things. Now. Okay, so I'm sorry I repeated myself again, and I hope you enjoyed it, although I said it before. I hope you re-enjoyed it. So I'm going to end this here. I wanted to do a video really quick. It's been a couple of days, and I kind of been busy. I don't recall doing what, but I was busy. But I love you guys so much, and I'm going to send all of you Love, light, and peace. Bye.